So we will start the conversation this evening by speaking about Liverpool because it's the best 38-game run in Premier League history. But Wes, why don't we start with you, because there's been lots of comparisons to the teams of the 70s and the 80s and questions about whether or not it's the best Liverpool side. And I thought you might be the best place around the table to give us some historic insight.
I'll bring my dad. I'm always in eras. I always think if you do it in your era, you do it in your era. It's very hard to match people up. It's like heavyweight champions of the world. You just got to make sure you're the best in your era. And that in the Liverpool in the 70s with Phil Thompson and Doug Leach and that lot. I mean, Alan Kennedy was a phenomenal football team. Terry McDermott, and to win the European Cup in them days, which. The European Cup, let's be honest, was a lot harder to win. You know, you had a bad 45 minutes, you were out. You know, you've got to remember, Liverpool lost more games in last year's Champions League than what they did in the league, and won the Champions League and didn't win the Premier League. So, you know, for me, this is a phenomenal football team. I don't think it gets a lot of credit, not as much as what it should. I think some people go, oh, you know, Man City haven't done well this season. This team's a very good team. I'm a great lover of their manager. I think their manager, I could use any team here, but I'm just going to say Rotherham. I think he could go to Rotherham and take them to the Premier League in time. I think that he's that good. I think he's a manager that gets the right players in, they play a right way. They haven't got household names in the midfield like Henderson, Wijnaldum, Firmino, sorry. But if them three don't play, I don't think it works. But I think you can go on about the front three and the full-backs and the centre-halves and the goalie, but the three in midfield are the ones that make the full-backs go. The full-backs can go.
A lot of those players, though, have become, you know, if you look at Salah, Mane, they're becoming household names as well. They weren't household names when they were signed.
Because he's coached.
Yeah, because of how well they've been coached. I think even Van Dijk.
Robertson.
Robertson. He's brought Trent Alexander-Arnold in. Van Dijk, don't get me wrong, everyone talked about him as a top player, but Celtic, Southampton, and now everyone looks at the best player in the world.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This manager could take because he gets players and he goes, and they don't have to be also. You know, I use Pep Guardiola. I know Pep Guardiola's record's great. Don't get me wrong, but every player's £80 million in every position. They're 90, 100 million pounds, 70, 80 million pound players. I haven't seen anybody at Man City become much better. They were already great players, if you know what I mean.
I think that is the difference with this Liverpool team. Pep Guardiola goes and spends 700 million. You know, he spends probably 150 million on his two fullbacks. Klopp brings in Robertson, who played at Hull with my brother. You know, no one really knew him. And Trent Alexander-Arnold, a local lad. And those two are probably the best in Europe right now. But I think in terms of eras, it's probably easier to compare this Liverpool side to the 2005 side who won the Champions League. That side under Steven Gerrard didn't do anything the next year. This side, you know, won the Champions League and, as I said earlier, are hungry to go again. They'll probably end up, you know, possibly in the final this year, and, you know, they're going to go on and win the league this year. So I think that's what sets them apart, the fact that their coach has made them the best players, which probably another coach wouldn't be able to do, but they've gone again after a success.
But that's the thing that they've got to keep going again and again and again, I think, to match the teams.
Greatness.
So what they're doing at the moment is phenomenal. And amazing brand of football, changed it a little bit to a bit more pragmatic at times. There's been some unbelievable performances this season, but other times I watched them against Wolves. Got the job done. But to be the real greats, I'm sure Jurgen Klopp will be saying, look, we've done amazing stuff already, but you can see there's no complacency. We want to go again and again. They want to win this league, smash all the records, but then winning it back to back and stuff like that will then elevate them to that level.
It'd be interesting as the season goes on, because if they're still unbeaten, you know, you've got the Champions League to come. You've got the Champions League. They're in a position, they're going to be in an unbelievable position, like Man City will be, to rest players. Like, we're unfortunate in this country. You know, PSG or Juventus will have a Champions League game Wednesday. They probably won't even have a game the weekend. Or they'll have one of the weakest teams in the league on the Friday.
That's what makes this start to the season even better.
And that's why, this is phenomenal. And you watch them against Tottenham the other day. They're 1-0 up and they're still bombing forward. They have it in their makeup to just keep on going. They're not a team. And what they can do, they can defend. You know, they can defend. They can leave 2v2 at the back with Van Dijk and Gomez and just say, we can cope. And when you can defend like that, you're always going to dictate football matches.
He's invested heavily. I mean, he has obviously bringing on players and coaching them, but he has spent a lot of money, but he's done it in a wise way, hasn't he? Recouping the money that they brought in for Coutinho.
Yeah, selling Coutinho, having the profile and going, right, now I'm going to go and get Alisson. I'm going to get Van Dijk. Every signing for being, you know, in midfield. Keita.
Everyone's
but some of them,
to...
but some of them took a little bit of time to get up to the level of what he wanted. Oxlade-Chamberlain, I thought that was a fantastic sign. I know he's had a few injuries, but he's looked at the profile, he's blended them into the way he's doing it, kept that hunger, kept evolving. But I agree with you, Merce, as well, like Milner and Henderson, the way they're in there as well. It's just a lovely balance.
Have a listen to this for a 12 months. So they've won the Champions League, the Club World Cup, the Super Cup as well, and potentially the Premier League. That will be all within 12 months. And like you say, with a congested fixture list that they've got as well, it just makes it
You know, the weird
more
thing
special.
is, yeah, like all them records and everything, but when next season starts, the bookmakers will make both teams heads or tails. They'll make them heads or tails. Now, why are Liverpool not favourites to win the Champions League? They've lost in the final and they've won the final. Man City haven't even looked like winning it. And they're favourites to win the Champions League. And that's where I don't think they get the respect that they should get. You know, this is the best team in Europe by a distance at the moment, by a long way. And they just don't get the I still don't think they get the respect. I really don't.
Tell us a little bit about this mentality that Jurgen Klopp calls it mentality monsters, isn't he, Annie? It's not just necessarily from the manager, right? The players have to buy into all of this as well.
Yeah.
There's the confidence with them that they just, even when they're not playing at their best, like you said, Matt, they're finding ways to win, but they're always believing that they'll get the job done eventually.
Yeah, I think I just see a level of confidence in the group within themselves. And even when you look at interviews, you know, you look at Trent Alexander-Arnold and Robertson, you almost want them to say, we're going to win the league, but they're so humble. They're so sort of, no, game by game. And you can see the managers drilled that into them, that mentality of, look, we had 7-point lead last year, we lost it. They're very humble and they're very kind of, their work ethic. You look at the front three, how they work. They're always working back, winning the ball back, and that sets them off for their counter-attacks. I love the mentality towards the group, I think, is what you can see in Liverpool, and it's not what a lot of other teams have. You know, they have top players, but I think they're always working for the group. Firmino works back, Salah works back, Mane works back, and then you've obviously got that midfield three who are like servants of those three. So I think the mentality of the group is what sets them apart.
You don't feel either, do you, that there are any, we might not be privy to it, but any huge egos that are kind of overshadowing or causing any problems at the moment? There was a little bit of a ding-dong at one point between Salah and Mane.
A healthy ding-dong.
They seem to sort that out behind closed doors. But how difficult is that? You must have worked with some egos in your time, Matt.
Do you know what? I think, and again, you can see that the manager not only has profile players in the way that you know, they fit with their physicality and the style of play, but he's also got people that will fit into that team spirit, into that chemistry, if you like, of the group. So the players that, you know, a lot of them are still hungry and going there and wanting to prove stuff. So, yeah, I've been in dressing rooms where there've been, I won't name names, but there've been some pretty big names and some egos. But even when there were clashes off the pitch, on the pitch, everybody was always united. And like Annie's saying, there's a real belief, a process to what they do. They work hard, the buy-in, and that will strike fear into opposition. Liverpool now carry a real fear about what they do because they'll keep going right to the end. They've got that belief, and it seems to be game by game, doesn't it? They know what they're doing.
If you want to beat Liverpool, you've got to get 2 goals or 3 goals because they score goals. They don't go to park the bus. They go and have a go and they score goals. And if you want to beat them, and I said a long time ago, I don't see them. I can only see really Man City beating them. I really can. That's the only team I can see beating them. I don't see any of the lesser teams beating Liverpool.
Is it the
and
belief?
I don't mean that disrespectfully.
Is that belief or is that quality?
I think that they haven't got the goals in them. I don't think, you know, they're not going to go to a place and get beat 1-0 because they'll score goals. And I think that's the thing with them. I played in a team years ago. I was lucky enough to play in a team. We would win 1-0 every week. Our thing was we'd score a goal. When we were going back to the halfway line, you could see the other team would beat. It was like, well, we ain't getting 2 goals. This game's finished. It's the same with Liverpool. Virtually before they start the game, teams are going out with the thing of, well, we've got to get 2 or 3 goals here to get a result.
City have got a better goal difference, haven't they? Scored more goals than Liverpool this season, but aren't top of the table.